Your soulmate wrote a secret love letter. You must read it before tomorrow. My beloved child. Before tomorrow arrives, something will disappear forever unless you hear these words. A letter was written with a trembling heart, but it was never meant for the eyes of strangers. It carries emotions that have been locked away for far too long, and every second that passes brings you closer to the moment when its meaning could be lost forever. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. What you're about to hear is not just another message, it is the kind of confession that changes how an entire story is understood. Hidden between simple sentences is a truth your soulmate struggled to admit, fearing that once the words were spoken, nothing would ever feel the same again. They folded this letter carefully, hoping destiny would place it in your hands before tomorrow. The first line reads, "If this reaches you, then my silence has finally lost the battle against my heart." But that was only the beginning. The next sentence reveals something so unexpected that even they hesitated before writing it. As the letter continues, the handwriting becomes uneven, almost as if every word carried the weight of countless sleepless nights. "There wasn't a single day when I truly forgot you," it says. "Even during moments when the world believed I had moved on, a part of me kept searching for signs that our story wasn't over." Don't skip, because the next page changes everything. They confess that there was one unforgettable moment recently that made them realize running from these feelings was impossible. A familiar place, a familiar song, a simple memory appeared without warning, and suddenly every wall around their heart began to fall apart. Yet they still didn't know whether you would ever believe these words. That uncertainty became the reason this letter remained hidden. But something happened only hours ago that convinced them waiting any longer could become the biggest regret of their life. The reason is written on the final folded page, and once you hear it, you'll understand why tomorrow matters more than today. The last section of this hidden letter doesn't begin with an apology. It begins with a promise. "If destiny gives me one more chance," they wrote, "I won't waste another moment pretending these feelings are smaller than they truly are. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you." Then comes the sentence they almost erased forever: "There is one truth I never had the courage to tell you, and it's the reason this letter had to reach you before tomorrow." Those words end there, followed by a long pause. As if the writer stopped breathing before finishing the most important confession of all. Why couldn't they write the next line immediately? What happened between those unfinished words and the final signature? The answer isn't where anyone expects it to be. It's hidden in a single sentence on the back of the letter, a sentence capable of changing everything you thought you knew. And when that final message is finally revealed, you'll understand why this secret letter could never stay hidden any longer. A strange detail appears the moment the letter is turned over. There, in the corner of the page, your soulmate wrote something that almost no one would notice at first glance. "If you're reading this now, then somehow, my heart found its way to you before I did. Don't skip." Every word from this point forward carries a weight they never had the courage to speak aloud. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The next lines reveal that this letter was rewritten over and over again. Some pages were torn apart. Others were hidden away forever. Not because the feelings weren't real, but because they feared the truth might arrive too late. They admitted that every time they tried to move forward, something quietly pulled them back. A memory. A dream. A familiar feeling they couldn't explain. Finally, they stopped fighting it and wrote, "The more I tried to forget you, the clearer I realized that my future kept leading me back to your name." But then comes a sentence that changes the entire meaning of everything you've heard so far. The handwriting suddenly becomes firmer, as if fear had been replaced with certainty. "Someone once told me to let go," they wrote, "but they never understood what you truly meant to me." Those words weren't written out of sadness. They were written after a moment that completely transformed their heart. Something unexpected happened recently, something so small that nobody else would have considered it important. Yet to your soulmate, it felt like the answer they had been waiting for. In that quiet moment, they realized this letter could no longer stay hidden. Don't skip, because the biggest revelation is still ahead. Then they confess another secret. "I kept wondering if you would ever understand why I became so quiet. The truth is, I was protecting feelings that had already become too powerful to ignore." Every line feels more personal than the last, but one folded section of the letter remains unopened. On it, only 5 handwritten words appear: "Read this only when ready." What could possibly be written inside those hidden lines that even your soulmate hesitated to reveal? As the final fold slowly opens, the ink looks fresher than the rest of the letter, as though these words were added at the very last moment. "If tomorrow comes before you know the truth," they wrote, "you may never understand why I made the choices I did. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you." Then comes the most mysterious sentence yet: "There is one final page that I never placed inside this envelope." Why would they leave out the most important page? Where is it now? And what truth was considered too powerful to include with the rest of the letter? The answer isn't missing by accident. It was hidden intentionally, waiting for the exact moment when your heart would be ready to hear it. That forgotten page holds a confession capable of changing the meaning of every single word you've heard so far, and once it is finally revealed, nothing about this story will ever feel the same again. For a long moment, it seems as though the story has reached its end. But then, tucked inside the envelope, you notice something unexpected: a tiny handwritten note that wasn't there before. It contains only one sentence: "The page you're searching for was never lost, it was protected. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you." Suddenly, everything begins to make sense. Your soulmate wasn't hiding the truth because they doubted their feelings. They were waiting for the right moment, believing that some words become meaningful only when the heart is finally ready to receive them. As you unfold the hidden page, the first line immediately captures your attention: "If you're still here, then maybe destiny wanted you to hear what I could never say face to face." The words feel deeply personal, carrying a quiet honesty that no conversation could ever replace. Yet one final secret still remains between the lines. The writing grows slower, almost as if every sentence required extraordinary courage. "There were countless moments when I wanted to reach out," the letter says. "More times than you'll ever know, I started writing your name, only to stop because I feared my timing wasn't right. Don't skip, because the biggest confession hasn't arrived yet." The next paragraph reveals something your soulmate has carried silently for far too long. "People saw my smile," they wrote, "but they never saw the conversations I had with my own heart. Every plan I made somehow circled back to you. Then comes a sentence so unexpected that it changes the entire emotion of the letter. The greatest fear wasn't losing you, it was becoming someone who never told you the truth. That single line explains every pause, every silence, every unfinished page. But just when it feels like the mystery is finally over, your eyes land on a final folded corner with 3 handwritten words: one last promise. As you carefully unfold that final section, the atmosphere changes completely. No matter where life takes us, your soulmate wrote, I never want my silence to be the last thing you remember about me. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The letter ends with hope instead of regret. If this message found you before tomorrow, it says, then perhaps tomorrow isn't an ending at all, perhaps it's the beginning I was too afraid to believe in. But beneath the signature, written in much smaller handwriting, is one final message almost hidden from view. There is another letter, one that tells the whole story. I only wanted you to find it after you understood this one. Suddenly, the mystery grows even deeper. Where is that second letter? Why was it separated from the first? And what incredible truth has been waiting there all along, ready to change everything you thought this journey meant? Just when you believe you've uncovered every secret, you notice something pressed gently between the last page and the envelope, a delicate bookmark with a single handwritten sentence. The second letter begins where the first one ends. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your heartbeat quickens as you unfold another carefully written page. Unlike the first letter, this one doesn't begin with an explanation. It begins with gratitude. Thank you for staying long enough to hear the words I was too afraid to speak. Every sentence feels calmer, stronger, and more certain than before. It's as though your soulmate finally stopped hiding behind fear and started speaking directly from the heart. Then comes an unexpected revelation. The greatest distance between us was never time, it was everything I left unsaid. Those words changed the entire meaning of every silence that came before. The letter continues with a memory that had never been shared with anyone else. There was one ordinary day, your soulmate writes, when I realized my happiest future always included someone I couldn't stop thinking about. Don't skip, because the next lines reveal something extraordinary. I kept asking myself why your name appeared in my thoughts at the most unexpected moments. Then I understood, some connections don't become weaker with time. They become clearer. The handwriting grows steadier with every line, as though doubt has finally disappeared. Yet one final folded section remains unopened. Across it, only a few words are written. This is the promise I never broke. Before opening it, you can almost feel the weight of everything left unsaid, knowing these next words could change the entire story once again. As the final fold opens, the last message shines with remarkable clarity. If you ever wondered whether you truly mattered to me, your soulmate writes, let this letter answer what my silence never could. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. I never stopped believing that one day these words would reach you at exactly the right moment. Beneath that sentence is a final surprise, a tiny note tucked into the corner that reads, tomorrow isn't the deadline, it's the doorway. And what happens after tomorrow depends on whether you discovered the truth hidden inside these letters. The page ends with one unfinished sentence, followed by 3 tiny dots, as if another chapter is waiting just beyond the final line. The greatest confession of all has not been read yet. A gentle breeze seems to lift the final page, revealing something hidden beneath it that no one was supposed to notice on the first reading. A small folded note, sealed with only 2 handwritten words, open carefully. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The paper feels older than the others, as if it had been carried everywhere for a very long time. Before a single sentence appears, there is a quiet pause, almost as though your soulmate wanted you to take one deep breath before discovering what had remained hidden all this time. Then the first line appears: "If this note has found you, it means my heart trusted you more than my fears." Those words don't ask for anything. They simply reveal a truth that has waited patiently for the perfect moment. Every sentence that follows feels less like a letter and more like a doorway into emotions that had never been spoken aloud. The next paragraph begins with a memory your soulmate never shared with another soul. "There was a moment when everyone believed I had moved on," they write, "but inside, I was quietly holding on to a future that still included you. Don't skip, because what comes next changes everything. I wasn't waiting because I was afraid. I was waiting because I wanted my next step to be honest, not rushed." Suddenly, every unanswered question from the earlier letters begins to connect. The silence wasn't emptiness. It was preparation. The distance wasn't an ending. It was time gathering the courage for a conversation that had to happen at exactly the right moment. Then your eyes stop on one unforgettable sentence: "The greatest secret was never hidden inside these pages. It was hidden inside the timing of when you would read them." That single line explains why every letter felt as though it was leading you towards something much bigger. As the final lines come into view, the handwriting becomes calm, steady, and filled with hope. "If tomorrow arrives and you've reached this page," your soulmate writes, "then you've already uncovered more of my heart than anyone else ever has. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you." Just beneath the signature, another tiny message appears, written so lightly it is almost invisible. There is one final envelope waiting to be opened, but it was never meant to be found until every word before it was understood. Your heart races once again. Another envelope? Another hidden message? Why would your soulmate leave one last mystery after revealing so much already? As you gently lift the corner of the paper, you notice the outline of a final sealed envelope resting beneath everything else, carrying only one sentence across the front: "This is the message that changes the entire story." The final envelope feels different from every other one. It has no decoration, no long introduction, only a quiet sentence written across the front: "Some truths become powerful only after every previous page has been understood. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you." As you slowly open it, you realize this isn't simply another letter. It's the answer to every question that has followed you from the very beginning. The first line reads, "If you've come this far, then you've already shown more patience than I ever expected." The next words seem almost impossible to believe. Everything you read before this was preparing you for one final truth. "Because I wanted you to understand my heart before you judged my silence." Suddenly, every hidden page, every unfinished sentence, and every mysterious pause begins fitting together like pieces of a story that was never broken, only waiting for the right moment to be completed. The letter continues with remarkable honesty. There were days when I believed I had missed my chance forever, your soulmate writes. But every time hope seemed to disappear, something reminded me that unfinished stories deserve one more chapter. Don't skip, because the greatest revelation is closer than ever. Then comes the sentence that changes everything. I never wrote these letters because I expected anything in return. I wrote them because I couldn't allow the truest feelings of my life to remain unspoken. Every word carries quiet courage. There is no fear anymore. No hesitation. Only sincerity. Then, near the bottom of the page, another handwritten message appears. If you're wondering why tomorrow mattered so much, it's because I promised myself that I would stop letting time speak louder than my heart. For the first time, the mystery surrounding tomorrow finally begins to unfold, but one final surprise is still waiting. At the very bottom of the last page, beneath the signature, there is one final folded strip of paper. It contains only a few carefully written lines. This isn't the end of my letter. It's the beginning of everything I never had the courage to say before. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Beneath those words is a date with no explanation and one final sentence. Whenever you remember this letter, remember one thing above all else: some connections are never measured by how loudly they speak, but by how faithfully they wait. As you gently place the final page back into the envelope, you notice something almost impossible to ignore. Hidden inside the flap is one last handwritten message, so small it could easily have been missed. The greatest chapter was never inside these letters. It begins the moment you believe that some stories are worth finishing. And with that, the secret love letter finally reveals what it was always meant to say: not goodbye, but the hope of a new beginning. Morning arrives, but the story refuses to end. As the first light touches the final envelope, one last piece of paper quietly slips free, as though it had been waiting for this exact moment. Across the top, in familiar handwriting, are the words: "This page was never meant to be read first, it was always meant to be read last. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you." The message begins with a deep breath captured in ink. If you've reached this final page, then you've already walked through every fear I couldn't explain. Suddenly, you understand that every letter before this one wasn't simply a confession, it was a journey leading to a single truth. I wanted you to know my heart completely before you knew my final decision. Those words stop you for a moment. What decision could possibly carry so much meaning after everything that has already been revealed? The next paragraph feels unlike anything written before. It carries peace instead of uncertainty. I no longer want silence to tell my story, your soulmate writes. I no longer want unfinished thoughts to become the memories you keep. Don't skip, because the greatest promise is only a few lines away. If our paths were meant to cross again, I wanted you to meet the real version of me, the one who finally chose honesty over fear. Every sentence feels lighter, as though a burden has finally disappeared. Then your eyes reach one unforgettable line: the secret was never hidden inside these pages. The secret was that every letter was written with hope that tomorrow would become our beginning instead of another goodbye. In that moment, every unanswered question from the first letter suddenly finds its answer. The final words are written with complete certainty. Thank you for reading what my heart could never speak aloud. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Whether life changes quickly or slowly, I hope these words remind you that the strongest feelings are often the quietest ones. Beneath the signature is one final sentence, written smaller than all the rest. Whenever you think this story is over, remember, the most beautiful chapters are often the ones that haven't been written yet. As you carefully fold every letter back into the envelope, the mystery that began before tomorrow finally transforms into something entirely different, not a secret waiting to be uncovered, but a promise waiting to be fulfilled. And somehow, the ending you've been searching for feels exactly like the